what really sets good arbitrageurs aside from, those who aren't so good at it and not as successful?
I just kind of decided to drown out the noise because I feel like it would hold me back. So I just kind of try to not focus on that and focus on myself. And it still did well. So I would say just focusing on design, picking really good areas. And if you set yourself apart, you'll do really well.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Her Table, Her Rules. I'm your host, Juliette Peters, and I'm very excited to have Linda Kim here today. She has a coaching program called B&B Mastery that we're going to talk about, but she is involved in and started her business in something that I didn't even really know was out there, which is B&B, Airbnb arbitrage. So that's like a term that I'm used to hearing, when we talk about financial stuff, right? Arbitrage. So we're going to kind of dig into that and see how you kind of created your business. But I want to talk about first, really your road, because it was kind of, I would say like any woman entrepreneur, right? You kind of had an epiphany after a series of difficult moments. So tell me about that.
Yeah. So I was in my 9-to-5 for many years, over a decade in tech, as I was climbing the ladder. So I made it to director level, but then I started feeling like, what's after this? And then I asked for a raise and it was, okay, go take this 3-month program and then maybe. So then I do it and I got a little raise, but then you can't go further after that. So I thought, I don't know, like I just want to do something more.
Yeah.
And then I was also in a marriage that was not healthy for many, many years. And I just felt like that was going to be it for me.
Yeah.
Because I obviously had kids and I didn't feel like, you know how it is when you're in it, you don't feel
Absolutely.
like, you don't imagine anything else.
Yeah.
So I almost really thought that was going to be the rest of my life. And then my best friend passed away from cancer several years ago. And it really made me think that time is limited and really had me thinking. And I think it was just in my subconscious of always in the back of my head. I'm settling. I don't know if this is going to be it for me. So that's really what happened. Yeah.
So you created your business in a way that is, not the typical, which is you kind of basically took a course, right? Yeah. You were looking for what could I do to build a business with passive income?
Yes.
Right. And then you take this course. So that's not always a recipe for success. So tell me kind of how, what drew you to this area and how did you kind of dive in and get the information and do the work so that you built a successful business?
Yeah, because when I was going through my divorce, I took about a year off, just kind of focusing on myself. I didn't date, I didn't do anything. And so I was just kind of thinking, okay, I want to do something with my life, but I don't know what, because obviously all I knew was my 9-to-5. That's all I knew my whole life. And my parents were the 9-to-5. And so I was looking online and thinking of ways to make money. Yeah. And obviously when you look up ways to make money fast, it sounds like a gimmick. Like, no, that's not even possible. Yeah. So I was looking at all these different methods and something about Airbnb arbitrage stood out. And I was following these people and, on social media, when you look at one thing,
it's like the algorithm feeds you more of that. Feeding.
Exactly. Yeah, everything is about that. Yeah. So then I started looking at that, and then something about this mentor stood out to me, and it was a huge investment. So normally I'd never take a risk like that. I had never done that in my life, but something, I don't know, was resonating me with him to just apply for his program. So I did it, and then he reached out, and then he's like, okay, I want you to be a part of this. And, what is your purpose? Why are you doing this? And it really made me think. And I was like, oh, it's because, I want to set a good example for my kids. I left my marriage. I want to be a good role model for them. I want to create the kind of life that I want, that I always wanted. And so he accepted me. And then I just said yes. And it changed my entire life.
So let's talk about what Airbnb arbitrage is. Explain to the audience what it means to arbitrage for Airbnb, and then talk a little bit about what set you apart, or what you were doing apart from sort of the madding crowd, because I'm sure there are a lot of people doing Airbnb arbitrage. Yeah. So first of all, explain what it is.
Yeah. So Airbnb arbitrage, a lot of people actually didn't know you could do this, is when you rent a property from a property owner or landlord, and then you take the house and put it on Airbnb.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do 20% down purchasing a home, which a lot of people don't have that down payment, or they don't feel like they want to type all their savings into one house. And so it's a really, really great way to get into real estate and build wealth without a lot of money. So that's also was really attractive to me because I like real estate. I just didn't have experience in it.
Yeah.
And it felt like I don't have all this money to go start this real estate business. So so that's what I did. And my coaching program I've learned is that I'm one of the only ones that teach design. I noticed
that. So that's the secret sauce. So explain the secret sauce, the design element, because I would imagine when you're identifying, first of all, there are, I'm sure, cities that do not allow this because so you would have to really be sort of digging for the places that you're able to do this, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So it was the design because you really make so much more money if it's designed well.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of mentors, when they teach it, they just teach maybe the strategy or the basics of it.
Yeah.
And then I teach the design because I'm able to get more bookings right away because of that one thing. And it's not like it's a fancy, super luxurious house or a place like this, or, it doesn't have a huge pool. It still does really well.
Why do you think that is? So when you are looking, when you're examining a property to determine whether or not this is good for, a good fit for your business, that you will be able to arbitrage successfully this particular property, what are you looking at as the raw design elements that are really important so that you see your bookings right away sort of spring to life? Yeah.
So I typically choose places that don't need any work, like remodeling. You don't want places that are dated because obviously it's going to be harder to sell to people.
Yeah.
And I made that mistake in the very beginning. It wasn't a mistake. It was in a good location.
Lesson.
Yeah, definitely.
Opportunity for growth.
Yeah. Exactly. Because it did well, but I still had to put more work into it. I had to paint some stuff, change the knobs, and which is fine, but I just like going into a place where it's ready to go and you don't have to worry about that stuff. So I look for that. And then also more bedrooms, the better. You can charge more. Every single bedroom there is extra, you're going to make that much more money. And then how walkable is it, or how many restaurants are nearby?
Location
is
really important.
Yeah. And to your question about the areas that allow it, there's a lot. You just have to go to this tool. It tells you everything, or you can just Google the city. Yeah.
So, explain this, because for people who aren't kind of into this, they may not really understand. Well, why would a landlord do this when they could do it on their own?
Yeah.
Right. And not have to pay a commission or a middleman. Right. So tell me what's in it for the landlord that makes it attractive to a landlord.
Yes. Because people ask that too. Why wouldn't they just go do that if they can make 3 times the rent versus like 1?
Right.
But so what I've gotten from my landlords is that, for example, one of them, they have a family and then they have their own real estate business, or they're doing another job. And to them, it sounds like another thing they have to deal with on top of all that. Because you know how it is when you're busy, you feel like, oh, okay, I don't want to deal with this other thing. And so I think that's part of it, is time. I think it's also the perception that, I don't know how to do it, so it sounds like it's too much work. Because obviously when you know the system and you build it, it's pretty passive, but they don't know that. So Interesting.
And so how many properties do you arbitrage? How many do you work?
Yeah. So I I got laid off, but I never went back. And at that point I had 3. So I was still able to leave, make 6 figures off 3. And then I scaled to 9, but now I'm testing markets. So I'm switching things around right now.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So when you say you're testing markets, what does that mean to you? Like, how is your business evolving?
Yeah. So the really great thing about arbitrage is that it's low risk. Because obviously if I went and bought a home in Texas and did a down payment, and then maybe it's not appreciating, or it's not doing well.
You don't know the area necessarily, even with research, you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Especially if you don't live there.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So then you're stuck, and I have friends that bought properties and they're stuck there, and I wish I could just get rid of this place.
Yeah.
So the nice thing about arbitrage is that you can literally just, get out of it easily.
Yeah.
And so I tested 2 different neighborhoods, not knowing because I didn't live there.
Yeah.
And one did way better. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to move out of here and then go over here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting. So is there a lot of kind of iterating as you go with this? I mean, is there a lot of testing that you do?
Yeah, that's a good question. So they're not too much just because I do my research ahead of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the pockets in California have been doing really well. So Houston, it was just because I didn't know anything about Texas, and it still did well. It just wasn't as well. But I will say that Houston has done a lot better than I imagined. I was like pretty impressed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, I know when you first identified, because we have talked a lot on this show about kind of that disconnect between having a passion point for something and doing it just to make money. So originally you kind of got into this. Money was a big driver for you, right? Learning to be able to have passive income, and but has it been solely the money really that sent you on this entrepreneurial journey, or was there something more? And now that you've been doing it for a number of years, how has kind of that picture evolved for you?
I love that question. I haven't been asked that before. That's such a good question. Yeah. So obviously in the beginning it was money because I just didn't know much about it.
Yeah.
It was more, how do I live this kind of lifestyle and create freedom for my family and myself? And that was really my driver. But once I started doing it, I set up my first property, and I always liked interior design. I wasn't an interior designer. I just really liked it as just like
as a
personal
hobby.
Yeah.
I like it too.
Yeah. 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 So then when I didn't even think about that when I was setting up.
Yeah.
That I started putting, furniture together, or not physically, but designing things. And I felt like, oh my God, I love this. I remember feeling like, and I was by myself with a couple of workers, and I was so happy. And I was like, this is so fulfilling. I love this. This is amazing. I can just design something. And so I think that really got me excited. And then I realized when I was hosting people, interacting with the guests made me so happy too. So the whole experience, I just fell in love with it, like without even realizing that was going to happen. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. And then you created the space, and then people are there and like, oh, I love it. And there's just a lot of ownership and pride into it. And one of my students, she's like, I didn't realize, herself too, she's like, I didn't realize I was going to love these guests, and I feel like they're my own family and friends.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome. Yeah. So one of the things you said was really important to you was really setting an example for your kids, right? So how have you seen that? How old are your kids, first of all?
8 and 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're still little, but not super little, right? How have you seen that kind of show up in your family, that entrepreneurial, journey? I'm sure they're very, very proud of what you've accomplished.
Yeah, it's so crazy because when I wrote that on to the mentor, when I was applying, oh, what is your why? And I just wrote it down because when something hasn't happened yet, you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. So you just write it down thinking it may never happen. Yeah. But then it's crazy because it came full circle, and now I just naturally talk about entrepreneurship or what I'm doing or books just because it's just who I am now. Yeah. And then they're already soaking it up and saying it back. And one day, a couple months ago, my son, I think they were like, oh, could I have $1? Or they were asking for money. And they don't usually do that. But I think I was working and I was joking because it was around Halloween. I was like, oh, yeah, just go sell your Halloween candy outside. I was kind of joking. And then next thing I knew, 5 minutes later, like, we made $1. So they ran outside and put their candy out there outside in front of the house with the table. And then they started making money. Yeah. So it's so funny that I think they're just picking it up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell me a little bit about the B&B Mastery program, because now you, after having done this, now you're teaching others to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, because I got so many people asking, I want to learn what you're doing. I didn't know what that was. And every time I would go to a networking event too, I noticed, because in the beginning it was more like, oh yeah, this is what I do. I was kind of nonchalant about it. Yeah. And then a guy started teasing me like, you make it sound so basic. This is a huge deal. Yeah. So then I started realizing how many people were interested that I started coaching. And then right away, I think people were already waiting for it. So then it kind of took off right when I started. Yeah. And so I teach people how to make passive income with the exact same system that I'm using. And I do one-on-one. I'm starting group coaching now as well. One of my students recently, she's a stay-at-home mom of 5 kids, and she just hit 6 figures in 4 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And she hadn't worked for a while, and her husband's the breadwinner. And they were joking like, oh, she's going to retire him doing this. And yeah, so it's so amazing to see people just being successful off this.
So there is room, because sometimes, when you're kind of into the early adopter part of it, right, then it becomes harder to do, right? And obviously cities are passing laws against not just arbitrage, but any kind of Airbnbs is tough sledding in some places. How do you see kind of the field sort of, is there still room for people to be doing this, and what really sets good arbitrageurs aside from, those who aren't so good at it and not as successful?
Yeah, I would say I know the whole saturated market thing. And I was actually hearing that several years ago when I started. And some of the stuff you hear now was still being said back then. And so I just kind of decided to drown out the noise because I feel like it would hold me back. And I think if we keep listening to the negative things, we'll be too scared to make moves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I would even go to networking events. Oh, is that, I had a friend that did it and they said it was hard, so they're not doing it. So I just kind of try to not focus on that and focus on myself. And it still did well. So I would say just kind of focusing on design, picking really good areas. And if you set yourself apart, you'll do really well. So yeah.
That's amazing, because I know you said you don't pick places that have to be kind of redesigned, but you are going in, you're doing some, do you change furniture? So you're looking for a good blank slate.
Yeah.
And then you're really kind of doing up the decorative.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you just want to make it look nice, because obviously it's like, that's the first thing they see is the catalog of all these different, photos of homes and
And how do you, is there an art or a science to picking? I know you've said you've been testing some areas, but how do you kind of get into it just sort of up at the top? How do you know what's going to be a good area or not?
Yeah. So there's a whole website that gives you the data of every little thing, that it shows you the occupancy rate of each city.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Really?
So you can see all the Airbnbs in that town. How are they doing? So you look at all that stuff before you go in.
Interesting.
And then,
what do you think is the biggest kind of skill set that you have to have if you want to do this successfully? It sounds like data analysis is really important.
Yeah. So to your point, that's key. Doing your homework and then doing the design. Don't skimp out. And even getting nice photos. Some people just have, iPhone photos. You definitely want to invest in certain things that people are going to see visually. And I think you asked me why some people don't succeed.
Exactly.
Because I have had people too that come up like, oh yeah, I tried it. Or I know someone that tried it and they're not doing it anymore. And it's too much work. And I think it's really the system. I learned how to automate the system, which I teach now too, because that's why I only work a few hours a week on that business, is because I'm not in there doing everything.
So you said, is it a series of kind of like automated emails that kind of,
Yeah. And you assemble your team so that they're communicating with everybody and you're not the one talking to everybody.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I had a person the other day do a consultation for my program, and we were talking, and he said he joined another program, and he's like, it's been 4 months, I haven't gotten anything. And then I was like, oh, did you guys learn how to automate your system? And he's like, no, we didn't learn anything about that. So I was really surprised. So I don't think everyone does that.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't automated.
Yeah. Because that obviously makes it a lot easier to be able to deliver the service.
Yeah.
How does it work though with, like, if you go in and you see a house, good bones, good structure, but you need to zhuzh it up. You pay for the zhuzhing, and then that comes out of the percentage you're taking from the landlord. How does that like mechanically work?
Yeah, so you're investing in the home, like a tenant would. So you buy your own furniture, and then design it. So I highly recommend, if someone doesn't know how to design, they should at least get the help or hire somebody, because you'll make that money back.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So, and did you ever have any idea you'd be good at design?
No.
It was just something you like to do?
Yeah, I just liked it, and I just set it up. And then my mentor, he's has a bunch of mentees, and he's like, oh, this is the nicest house in the city. And so I was like, oh, I guess I'm on the right track, and it's booking fast. And then he's had, sent me clients to design their Airbnb.
Yeah.
So that turned into a whole business. So
interesting.
yeah.
What do you think you have learned as we talk a lot about being a female entrepreneur on this show, right? What do you think? Because I know the Airbnb space has there's a lot of dudes playing in the Airbnb space, right?
Yeah.
So what did you learn kind of as a woman in that in industry?
Yeah. It's funny you noticed that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it really is male dominated.
Yeah, it totally is. I know.
Even the hosts, the coaches, they all
yeah.
I think I noticed that. I think kind of it goes back to a lot of them don't teach design or do design.
Yeah.
So that's why I was thinking that I just do it naturally and it makes for money. So that's what I teach, and I think that's the one thing that is very. I mean, it's a fact.
Yeah, I mean, we live in an aesthetic world.
Yeah.
When you're renting, when you go somewhere and you want to rent something, you don't want to rent something with with green cabinets. You just don't. You're like, when you're scrolling, you're like, ew, next picture, please. So I think that, you know what I mean? I think that probably really matters.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Even when you're searching for a hotel or
absolutely.
Or shopping for clothes online or on a dating app. You're going off photos. So,
absolutely. Yeah, it's a very visual world.
Yeah.
So, well, what as kind of a final question, what kind of advice would you give a woman entrepreneur who is kind of sitting in the audience right now and is wondering, hey, could I do this? What would you say?
I would say you can absolutely do this, because I was going through divorce. I was in my 9-to-5 in meetings all day. I was a single mom of 2 kids and living in a new state without much community.
Yeah.
And I was still able to take my program, make time for it, and then go set up my properties while I was still working.
That's
so
amazing.
Yeah. So the thing I love about this, it's very accessible and it's not like a year-long program. It was 6 weeks. So you learn it fast. And I have clients that are single moms. One's going through a really tough divorce too, and she wants to build her own financial freedom because her husband was the breadwinner and now they're not together. So it's been amazing to see these women. Yeah, I actually have a couple divorced women clients that are single parents, and not everyone's that, but some are married, and
right.
Yeah. But it just really comes down to you deciding that you can do it, because you really can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Tell people where they can get a hold of you if they're interested in reaching out.
Yeah, so you can find me. My website is bnbmasterysociety.com, and that's where you can learn more about my coaching program. I do one-on-one small groups, and also we'll be doing group coaching. And you can find me on Instagram at Linda Kim, Linda with 2 I's, and Facebook and TikTok. And
awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it, and kind of revealing a whole world I knew nothing about. So I really am appreciative of the time.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, Linda, thanks so much. And thank you. And we'll see you next time on Her Table, Her Rules.